Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanissia. This is the Woolly Worker Knitting Podcast, and today I'm joining you for episode 38 of the Woolly Worker Knitting Podcast. Usually I try to do not a podcast video between podcast episodes. I kind of like the variety and rhythm that this offers, and obviously it gives me time to get some progress done on the knits before I can show them again. So like every 2 weeks used to be quite a good rhythm. Maybe now it's like a bit more stretched out. But yeah, I had lots of plans to make different types of videos, like something about summarizing my summer knits and maybe some outfit videos, and then I got like ill with a really bad cold or cough, and I just didn't have any motivation to film any of those videos. And in the meantime, I did actually get some progress on a couple knits. For reasons I will get into, I got quite monogamous into like the knitting, so yeah, got lots of progress to show you on two specific projects. So yeah, no better time than the present to then make this episode 38. And yeah, it's quite a different period of knitting for me because if you've seen the last video, I was saying there were lots of deadline knits that were coming. So to summarize it, I've got 2 test knits and 2 sample knits going on at the moment. So all 4 projects are deadline knits, and it's a lot, and obviously like probably I shouldn't do this, and I don't recommend doing it, but it's working out okay. I have time. It's going along swimmingly. So yeah, it's interesting to like not really be able then to work on the other projects I had in mind, like the Sadie sweater and the Sibylla blouse I was quite excited about, but I've not done anything towards them. So yeah, I think it's how I'm gonna be spending like June and July, but comes August then I'll probably try and finish those things that I had started, and then it'll be autumn already, and then we'll be doing some like autumn planning. But yeah, what a long intro. I think I'm kind of scared that this episode won't be long just because there are pretty much only 2 projects that I want to talk about. So that's why maybe I'm like trying to pad it. But bear with me. I hope you're doing well. If you want to find any of the information of projects that I talk about today, just check out the description below. There's like Ravelry links to the project pages and like talking about needle size, yarn colors, etc. If I forget any details while I talk, it's always documented on Ravelry because it helps me remember things, and then it helps you know things. So what I'm wearing today is the Home Camisole by Caidree. I did that basically 2 summers ago. This is in Durorum Natura Penelope, I think, which is a DK Way merino silk yarn, and I like it and I don't like it. I like the color, I like the softness, and I liked how easy it was to do. I like the I-cord finishings. I think it's a well-made piece of clothing, but I really don't like that it's DK. It's really dense, it's heavy. Like, I was trying on a couple things this morning. I can't wear any of my finished items because it is way too hot. So I was gonna wear a camisole, and I have a couple of like fingering weight camisoles, and then I've got this DK camisole. So I tried on the fingering weight, but it didn't work with the bra that I was wearing. So then I put this on, and the difference is just like night and day. Like the fingering weight camisole was so light and airy and flowy and just comfortable in that way. And then when I put this on in comparison, like this just feels really like rough and stiff and heavy and warm. So for a day such as this one, if I really want to wear a knit and it's hot, DK weight camisoles just aren't gonna cut it. And obviously a day like today, like for context, there's a bit of a heat wave going on in the UK right now. They're not that common, so it's not like there's no use for a DK camisole. Obviously this will be very appropriate for other times, but I think what I really need are more fingering weight camisoles that are bra friendly, because that's why I didn't wear the other camisole that was fingering weight in like Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. I really like what that camisole feels like, but I just need to find a pattern that is bra friendly that I can use Knitting for Olive Pure Silk held single. That's the dream. But this yarn would be absolutely lovely for a t-shirt. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this. I also am not that much of a fan anymore of like this shape of camisole on me. Like I feel like it's like not doing things. I think I prefer like maybe more square necklines or like scooped necklines, but like the kind of like triangle cups, and maybe again like the fit of this with like a bit of bunching at the underarm. Like I don't know, I don't really think that this is like doing much for me, but like you don't have to always look your best at all times, and it is really comfortable. So yeah, I've been really wanting to make a video summarizing my summer knits, so this might be the next video that you see if I have time to go and film something like that. I want to go back and rank all my knits, and so I guess this one kind of falls in the middle where there's good things about it and bad things about it, but that's completely off topic. That was what I was wearing. My finished items, there's two of them. One of them you've seen lots of before, and I will basically just be telling you about how it fits and show some finished item photos. Then the next item may come as a surprise because there was not a lot of progress done last time, but it is now finished, and that's one of my test knits. And then we'll talk about a new exciting thing that you've not seen or heard of. So let's go ahead with the first one, which is a Pink Velvet by Andrea Mowry. So here it is, and it's glory. It's finally done. So this made an appearance in my like unfinished items, hibernating whips. I had finished the yoke ages ago and done all the body, and then I just had it sleeveless, and I got all the motivation I needed to finish the sleeves. I decided to do full length instead of 3/4 like the pattern recommends. That's kind of like the only modification that I did with this pattern. And I blocked it, and I took some photos this morning. I haven't worn it out, obviously, because it has been really warm. So this is a fingering weight project. I used Chink Fiber Merino Yak for the main body and their melted baby Surrey for the yoke. So it was actually really weird working with it. Like I didn't particularly enjoy it, the melted baby Surrey, because it was really like toothy and catchy. It felt like Velcro scripts, you know, that are like stuck to themselves. It is extremely soft though, like not prickly or itchy like mohair at all. That's why I wanted to work with it. I think it kind of has the same weight as two strands of mohair held together, like it is quite thick. So you could definitely do some kind of t-shirt like that and it wouldn't be see-through, but it would be quite warm because it is fluffy. And it's funny because from here, from far away, like you can't really tell maybe that they're like two different yarn compositions like all together, but from up close, and I'll show some detail shots, you can definitely tell that the color work is done with like quite a special different type of yarn that is like almost raised a little bit above the surface because of that fluff. I was holding that contrasting color dominant throughout, so that also helps with this kind of perspective of that contrasting color being raised above. And yeah, really pleased with the main color, like color variation. Like, I don't know if I would call that a semi-solid or variegated. Like, it's definitely less in your face than the typical variegated, but it's definitely more interesting than just a purple. Like, there's definitely a lot of things going on in this color. I used a skein and a half or thereabouts. Like, one skein is more than 100 grams for this yarn base, so I think I pretty much used one skein for the entire body and a little bit of the sleeve, and that's when I started attacking the second skein. So technically that's why there's not like there's no line in the body, because this was all the same skein. But when it came to the sleeve, just out of like precaution, I did helical knitting for one of the sleeves when I was then joining what was left from the first one and what was the start of the second one. So I joined that like sort of, I can't even remember which sleeve it was, to be honest, and they both look the same. So happy with the workmanship behind this item. I think I did a really good job. In terms of the fit, I was really worried at first because I had blocked the yoke when it was done, but not the body. So you had this like sort of like bunching that you could see very much in previous videos where I tried it on a little bit and just like showed it on camera. So this has now disappeared, which is great. Like this all looks very flat. And on my body, again, it has grown a little bit, even though Andrea Mowry usually has kind of like fitted yokes and fitted sleeves. So it is looser, but I still think it espouses like my chest nicely. it definitely feels like there is room there. So, you know, like if I were to wear a colored shirt or something, like there's definitely room for something between like the surface of the sweater and like my body. But what I'm a bit more annoyed about are the sleeves. So like I said, I made them full length, and in the end with blocking they grew significantly. So again, you might see on the photos, like they do come up quite low on the wrist. But that's fine because I guess that means I just lean more into the category of this being a wintry jumper, even though it's fingering weight. It is really warm because it's got like the merino and the yak and the fluffy, and it's close to your body, and it's got really long sleeves. The body length was like quite cropped, but not like mega cropped actually, and again it has grown with blocking anyway. So that means that instead of this being like a transitional piece that you just don't really know like when to wear, this just falls definitely in the category of like it has to be really cold outside or inside for me to wear that. So that's fine. This is now a winter sweater. And the colors are just like really dreamy, and the drape is nice. So yeah, overall I'm happy with that. I'm happy it's behind me because it was like a long term whip, and I like the way that it fits. I like how it feels. It's soft, and I'm excited to find outfits that I can wear this with. In the photos I was wearing it with a skirt. I'll see if this looks good with like dark jeans, maybe light jeans, maybe um like not jeans, like what are they called, like trousers. So yeah, I don't know yet what I will wear this with. I think this is just gonna go and get stored away until autumn comes, because yeah, it was quite the experience trying to like do a little photo shoot in the heat with this. But yeah, that's the Pink Velvet by Andrea Murray. So the next project I showed it last episode a couple weeks ago, and it was the Gramercy Tee by Tori Yu, and it is a test knit. So I've never done any of her patterns before. I've been kind of wanting to because I really like that she makes like elevated basics. Like she does a lot of t-shirts and sweaters that still have a bit of interest in the details. Like for example, some texture. Like she uses like a bit of rib or broken rib or a bit of lace on the bottom. Like she does little details like that. And this one is also a basic t-shirt, but it's got stripes and it's got a saddle shoulder. And I really like saddle shoulders. Most importantly because of the process of knitting it. I think it's really enjoyable to construct it, and I really like following instructions when they're like well written and not confusing, and you just trust the process because you don't necessarily know where you're going or what you're doing, but it's just like there's lots of lines of instructions, and it's just very satisfying to abandon yourself to it. Um, but then in terms of wearing it, I think sometimes they can be a bit loose, like drop shoulders are, and the sleeve, like the yoke depth can be quite large, and then you have a lot of fabric at the underarm. So I've had like, I've not made a lot of saddle shoulders, maybe two, and one of them was overly big, and the other one was really great. So yeah, I didn't know where this one was gonna fall. Um, I was working from stash. I had some knitting for olive merino in the color powder and some Sandnes Garn Sunday in poppy. They're pretty comparable. They don't have the exact same mid-range or yardage, but they work perfectly well together. So I highly recommend if you've got some yarn quantities or leftovers even of one or the other, like you can totally mix them together. So without further ado, let's show the t-shirt. So there we go. So this is a fingering weight project. Like the next one that I will show. So all of the projects today are fingering weight, and I've been really having a blast. Like I said, this is something that I want more in my wardrobe. Fingering weight projects. I love the drape of them just so much more than DK, and I find it quite mindless, and it's not that intimidating to just have like so much to do. Like it's kind of nice to know that having stockinette projects especially can be really nice when you just want to like plop down on the couch, watch some TV, and just go. So yeah, I was done with the two saddles and the back panel, and I think I was working my way through one of the first panels last week or like last episode. And then since then, yes, I have completed the second front panel, joined everybody in the round, did the body, picked up for the v-neck ribbing, and picked up for both sleeves. So I did a couple of modifications for this project, which is just that I shortened the body by one stripe repeat, and I did the same for the sleeves. So yeah, I wanted to be careful with the sleeves because something that I don't like on t-shirts is when the sleeves come like too close to your elbow. I find that really uncomfortable and cumbersome. So I wanted to be really careful that this wouldn't happen with this. I wasn't sure just how much it was going to drop with the drop shoulder, like saddle shoulder, and I also didn't really know how the yarn was going to behave because last time I had such a problem with the sleeve length on a short sleeve t-shirt. It was with the seamless yarn and it was broken rib. So yeah, even though this is stockinette and it should technically stretch less, I wasn't sure if the seamless yarn was going to like really relax. And after checking the measurements before and after blocking, I realized that actually this did not grow in length like almost at all. Like I'm getting the same bust measurement, length of body and length of sleeve. So this has not changed much like with blocking, which is good to know. But I guess I was prepared for the possibility that it would, but it didn't happen. But that's fine because I'd rather it was a little too cropped than a little too long, personally. So yeah, it's really nice. I've been like I did some photos this morning and I was seeing just how much the red pops. Like I said before, I wasn't that sure about the main color, and I still am a bit disappointed that I used it. I guess it's really a hard topic because obviously, like I said before, I've been trying to use up all my stash, and I had bought this quantity ages ago for a camisole, I think. Then I realized it was too close to my body color, and I lost interest. Then I thought here mixing it with the stripes would at least brighten it up a bit and give it interest as opposed to just like sad beige on me. But I still think that it's washing me out. It's just like effacing. And I had an intuition that that would be the case, and I continued ahead with it. So it's just two different ways of thinking about it. Either I should have, when you know, you know, and if I wasn't sure about this color at the start, I shouldn't have knitted with it. I should have just gotten rid of it. But like I tried, I had put it on my D-stash and it just wasn't going away. So I could have taken the loss and given it away for free and then bought some new yarn. But if I keep doing that like all through life, that's just too expensive a habit and too expensive a mistake to make. Or yeah, the alternative is to take the high road and decide, well, no, stick with your choices. You have bought this yarn. It is like you bought it for a purpose, so stick with your choices and use it. You can't just keep changing your mind every time. And I just always flip-flop between those two ways of thinking, where if I don't like a color anymore, where do I go from there? You know, do I get rid of those colors and buy the ones that I want now? Or do I take the loss and continue knitting with the things that I bought and like stick with my decisions like you're supposed to do for other things in life? Because you can't just, you know, like it just kind of feels almost like a childish thing of like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this anymore. Like it's not like you've got unlimited toys that you can just keep on buying the next toy. Like when you were younger, your parents would just say, well, I don't care if you don't like it. This is what we have, so you play with it. You know? Like it's kind of good to grow up as a well-rounded adult and realize that, yeah, there's not like an infinite like amount of things that you can just always keep changing your choices. So anyway, all that to say that the one negative thing about this t-shirt, I guess, is the color, which, yeah, story of my life. Like if you've seen my like knitting flops video that I made like last year or a couple years ago, like a lot of them, it was like either because I knitted with mohair or because I knitted it beige. So yeah, the history repeats itself. But the shape of it, I really like. The stripes, I love. Like, I absolutely adore the way that this all looks in different directions. Like, the, like, stripes being interrupted by the saddle. Like, I really, really like this. The back of it also looks really fun. Like, I love this detail as well so much. I like the v-neck as well. I really like the depth of it. Like, you'll see in the photos when I'm wearing it. It's like not too shallow, not too deep. Actually, I also modified the ribbing by making it like 2 rounds shorter. So this could have been even less shallow, I guess. Like it would have hidden even more of my chest, I guess, if I had made the ribbing to the length. But yeah, I really like this. And I used pretty much the same amount of yarn that like the pattern was specifying for my size. Like I was on gauge, and the poppy red I used almost nothing at all, so this would be an excellent project for leftovers. And the main body I used about 600 meters. So yeah, I definitely have leftovers. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the poppy because I had 2 skeins. Maybe one in like 75% might be enough for a camisole in the poppy because I really, really like the poppy. Like, I really want to make something with it as a fingering weight project. Maybe a camisole, maybe a t shirt. I could always buy one more skein and try and like helical knit something. Um, but yeah, I think overall, like, yeah, highly recommend the pattern. I don't think there were any major problems. Like, it's definitely a big pattern that has a lot of instructions for all the different sizes. Like, obviously, as I'm only doing the one size, I could just skip ahead a lot of the sections, but you have to be careful to not skip something that was supposed to be for all the sizes. So, I would say if you've never done a saddle shoulder, this would be an excellent first time introduction to it because I think it was really clear. And I liked working for Tori as a tester because she was using Google Docs, and I really like that. And like she would highlight when she would change something. There's no group chat or anything, so it's just like working on the document, which is fine as well. And really chuffed that I was able to do that quite fast. Like I was just completely hyper focused on it and finished it in basically 2 weeks, which again just didn't think I was going to be able to do that, but that put me in a really great position to um, get started on the other deadline knits that I have. So the next project that I'm working on, it's a work in progress. It's the Alpine Bloom Tea by Caitlin Hunter. And this is a sample knit for Skein and the Stitch. So she sent me over some yarn. It's a blend of BFL Masham, fingering weight. 100 gram is 400 meters, and she's got this like undyed base, and that's the contrasting color, and then like a dyed base that is the main color. So this is a new base that she's going to introduce to her collection like in the future, and it is she's planning to take the sample with her to Flock this year in the US. And yeah, so I will show you what I've got, but I'm not allowed to show the colorway, so I'll put this little clip in black and white, and then I'll go back to color and put a black and white photo next to me so you can see what I'm talking about, but the whole video doesn't have to be in black and white because we're not in the 60s anymore. Oh, it's amazing! I've not seen it on camera like this before, and it always is such a high to see a project like that, especially color work, like on camera. This is really great. I'm super chuffed with it. At first, I was a little bit scared when she suggested I do the sample for her in color work. I'm not the most confident about my color work. Like, it really depends on the yarn. With Jamison's, like Shetland yarn, I'm really happy with the way that my color work looks. But with superwash yarn, for example, I'm quite self-conscious. It's not something that's like my best work, which I'm more than happy with my knits. But as a sample knit, like, I really want to do a good job, obviously. So I was a little bit worried because I really just wanted it to be a good job. And when you look at that, it's like, no, yeah, this is great. This is completely acceptable to send this over. I think she'll be really happy with it. So I'll put this down and I'll put a photo. But yeah, this is a fingering weight t-shirt by Caitlin Hunter. It is not the most recent. I think it's been established for a while. She's got a few other things in this collection. I think like maybe a sweater or a hat or something like that. It's got a lovely little lace color that you start with. You just cast on and you go down and you work the lace, then you transform into the color work yoke. Maybe there's a few short rows to do actually before the color work, so that's great. She used wrap and turns, but she said you could switch to German short rows, so I did that because I'm just more familiar with it. Then you do the yoke, there's a few increase rounds during it, and instead of having lifted invisible increases, which is usually what I do when I've done other color work yoke patterns, this one she just has like, obviously she's got all those tiers of like color work motifs, and between them there is one column of a main color stitch. And every time you were doing an increase round, you would do a make one left and a make one right on either side of that one single line of main color. So it's really invisible, it's really effective. I absolutely adore the way that this looks, and I'm really happy that I got the pattern then for sample knitting, because I absolutely want to make one for myself. However, again, just in terms of like the wearability and real life, I don't think I'd wear this sample, like this t-shirt myself, because the BFL Masham is a little too rustic for my taste. Like, it is definitely itchier than merino, and it's really warm. And this is a t-shirt, like a woolly t-shirt. I still don't think that there's room for me to have a lot of those. Like, obviously the t-shirt I just showed was merino, and that's also wool, so it is a woolly t-shirt, but it just, the two of them feel very different. Like, the merino almost feels like it's got cotton in it, even though it doesn't, whereas this one almost feels like it's got mohair in it, even though it doesn't. If that helps, gives you an idea of like how merino compares to BFL Masham. And yeah, I think it would be too warm, even though it is fingering weight, because it's color work, it's got all those floats at the back, so obviously that adds like a second layer of wool padded behind you. So I don't think I would be making this t-shirt in this yarn combination for myself, but I really, really love this motif. So either I will make a fingering weight sweater by basically modifying this pattern to add long sleeves, which shouldn't be hard to do at all. In fact, I could even like the gramercy tee that I just showed from Tori, she has instructions for long sleeve and short sleeves. So yeah, could kind of take inspiration from that in terms of like what's the circumference at the wrist that you're aiming for, and then do the reverse math from there. So yeah, or I would do this as a t-shirt but with a different yarn combo, such as for example cotton merino from Knitting for Olive. But as I said, I'm not the most confident in my color work with yarns that are more slippery like this and not as toothy. Basically, I'm a really loose knitter, and so my stitches can be really big, and having a yarn that blooms or fluffs up a bit helps fill those gaps, and then the knitting looks more like a unified fabric. Whereas otherwise I think there's just like a bit too many holes and gaps between like my colors and stitches. So for here, I'm doing the main body in 3.25 millimeters, which is, I think, the recommended needle. But then for the color work and the lace, I sized down to a 3 millimeter needle. And I know usually they recommend for color work that you size up a needle, but for me, what has worked for the last 2-3 years has been to size down. So if you're like me, one of the rare people that like it doesn't apply to that tip, maybe try reversing it and see if that helps make your color work neater. So just working down the body now, and then the last thing to do will be to do the sleeves. For this particular project, you actually knit a bit of lace separately, and then you Kitchener graft it to the like end of the yoke. And Jess has asked me to halve the length of the sleeve, like it's supposed to be like a certain amount of rounds of lace, so I'll just do like half of the rounds and then graft that together. I've seen on Ravelry some people say that it's like a little tricky and not the most pleasant thing to do as a task, but the effect is really, really effective. The lace kind of has like some scallops that are like on the outside edge of the project, and it's not something that you'd be able to do if you were to like cast on, or I mean continue on from there and then bind off in a scallop. I think it's something that you can really just do by casting on. So for the neck, usually what I do with my projects is I just cast on at the body and I pick up afterwards to do like the rib. But in here I couldn't, because I would have had to reverse like the whole lace chart. But I've seen people as well do a modification where instead of having the lace, they just have rib. But I think the lace is really nice and it's just like different than usual and it's really like feminine and it goes well with the floral motif. So yeah, I'm super chuffed with this project. It's not something that I necessarily would have like chosen for myself or like put at the top of my priority list, but it's really totally up my alley and I'm glad that I am doing this. Even though I don't have a track record of like ever doing the same project twice, I think this one I really like so much that I would heavily consider it compared to other samples that I've made, which were just like a one off. Okay, so the next project that I'm going to start is a secret test knit. So I won't say much more, but I'm going to be doing it in Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino. And I did two swatches, basically two gauge swatch. And I am having a bit of mixed feelings about it. So I still have time to decide, obviously, because I'm not done with the Alpine Bloom. But I thought I'd share this and say my thoughts out loud, see if you have any ideas. So I swatched one of them with my metal 4mm and one with wood 4.5. And this is the yarn Knitting for Olive. It's quite a similar yarn to this, or like color. So one of them obviously has ended up being like a bit more loose and the other a bit more like dense. And it's been a while now, so I probably forgot. I think this one here with the little knot on the end was the latest one. So this is 4.5 wood. Oh, I really hope I remember. And this is the... Oh my god, I actually don't remember. I think this is the metal one. So like nice even stitches, no rowing out because I used like a smaller size needle on the wrong side. And then here for the wooden looser one, they actually, oh, you know what, to be perfectly honest, they barely even look different. Even though I know that I use different size needles, they they kind of feel and behave the same. The gauge is also pretty much the same, like it's like a tiny difference. Yeah, the difference is only half a stitch. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just do the metal needles then. Like I think my worry with this type of yarn, it's heavy merino, which is like a worsted weight yarn, which like I've been saying, I kind of feel like what works for me the best are fingering weight and DK projects because I just like the way that these drape on the body better and it just feels a bit more like ready to wear garments, whereas the chunkier we go, the more I feel like it's too heavy, too dense, too noticeable. Like I just feel like I'm aware that I'm wearing something like that. And I'm worried that if I go with the 4mm needle and I get a sweater that's too dense, it'll emphasize that aspect and property of the yarn. Whereas if at least I do like the 4.5mm and it has just like a slightly looser, airier feel, it will drape a bit nicer and like of course the risk of going up a size is that the project might end up bigger, which would also then like make me feel like I'm wearing a lot of yarn on my body. But like I said, the gauge doesn't actually seem to have changed that much by going up a size. So I think, yeah, just to play it safe, I will go with a 4.5 because I want it to feel a bit more drapey, even though I know I can't like force things and make it be something that it's not, like a fingering weight sweater. But yeah, so I'll just probably get started on this when I'm finished with the Alpine Bloom. But like I said, I probably won't be talking about that until I can reveal the finished item. So that will be a while, I think. So yeah, just forget you heard anything, and I'll work behind the scenes. And yeah, that's. Have I done a secret project? I think I did one for like the John Arbon magazine. Or was it a secret? I can't remember. Sorry. I'm obviously like a little distracted and I'm kind of running out of steam like with my voice and stuff. So it's almost the end anyway. I just have one more little swatch to show you. So the last project that I'll be casting on after that, that is a deadline knit, is another sample knit for another Jessica, and it's Jessica from Pigment and Ply. I've got quite a lot of her yarn up there on my yarn wall. I really was inspired by all of her beautiful colorways when she was doing a couple collections before, so I had a few pre-orders, and I really like her photography, and I like her tonals a lot. So this is going to be a Tides cardigan by the Bea. So she sent over a few colors. There's like a undyed base, a couple of dyed colors, and yeah, she's basically done a swatch herself to show me the order of the stripes that she would like on the cardigan. So that's exciting. I like following instructions. And I'll put the video in black and white now and show you the swatch. So that's to give you an idea of what it will look like. So we've got like light and then a bit of a darker stripe that's like bordered by darker colors. And yeah, the yarn base is really fluffy. It's like an alpaca air something. I'm not exactly sure, but it looks really nice on the swatch. I think it's going to be a lovely soft cardigan. I've been eyeing that pattern up for myself, so again, I'm really glad to have it. If I were to do it for myself, I probably would do the sweater, just because I think the button band maybe looks a bit like too bulky, or like there's one more thing happening in a sweater where there's already like a lot happening with the sort of like lace pattern. So yeah, if it was me, just a little wavy sweater would be nice, but it's nice to be doing this cardigan with some nice colors from Pigment and Ply, and I'm really excited to receive my payment, which is like a gift card to Pigment and Ply, because I know I will definitely make use of that in future collections. So yeah, that's what's gonna happen next, but first we're gonna finish the Alpine Bloom. But yeah, I'm really excited with how things are going. I'm okay with the deadlines and how far in the future they are. There's a couple things that have to be done in July and a couple things done in August, so we're all good. And yeah, so like I said, apart from that in life, it's going great. I was sick for a while, which was really sad. Like, it's really hard when, like, yeah, there were a lot of things I was looking forward to do, and then it just put like a stop in my tracks. But I'm feeling better now, and the days have been nice and warm and sunny, so we've been working on our garden, trying to tidy up everything. We started painting our living room, which I'll show a clip. We chose a color that's kind of like looking like plaster, and it really brightens up the whole room. We're super excited to start decorating it and adding furniture and accessories. Some new floors are going to be put there as well, hopefully in July. We've sort of been focusing a lot on the upstairs, so it's nice now to focus on the downstairs area where we're actually then hosting people if they come around, because before then it was just like the kind of like my office and our bedroom that we had decorated, which people don't hang out there. So yeah, the living room will be super excited to be done. And apart from that, I've been getting really into like my house plants. The flat that we used to live in before didn't get much light, so I kind of gave up on that hobby. And then ever since coming back here into like a house that has actually like a bit of a south facing kitchen and room, I'm able to get more plants and see them not thrive necessarily, but like definitely be more happy than they would have been in like the very dark flat. So yeah, I've been really loving doing that and watching a lot of like plant videos on YouTube. So yeah, all the podcasts that I used to watch, they're all getting drowned into like what the algorithm is now feeding me, which is like a lot of house decor and plant videos. But I still have time for the knitting, just like while I watch other types of content now. And apart from that, it's my birthday in 2 days, so yeah, I don't know what we're doing. Ross is planning I think a couple of days of things, so he's been doing really well at keeping it all a secret. Usually he's quite bad for like accidentally saying what we're doing, so I have no idea what we're doing, but I'm super excited. It's always like all the festivities in like winter, like Christmas and like Valentine's Day and things, like that's so nice. And then there's just like such a long period where there's no celebrations. So here it's like July is all about celebrating me, and then August is his birthday, and then yeah, no more celebrations until Christmas. So yeah, he's going on a trip abroad later, and that'll give me time to just hunker down and focus on all this knitting. And yeah, it was a busy June. My parents came over to visit and see the new house, and it was really nice to show them around. And we visited South Queensferry in Edinburgh. If you're around the area, like maybe you'll know like the Forth Road bridges. It's always a lovely time, and I'm glad that they got to experience Scotland in summer, because all the other times that they come, it's usually in winter. So it must have been quite a different experience for them to see like it can actually get warm here sometimes. But yeah, I hope you liked this little update. I know it was shorter than usual, but I've been monogamously knitting on the project, and it's not like I've got progress on like 10 different things for once. So I hope you liked the update and you found it interesting. If you like this video, don't hesitate to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel. And I hope you're doing well wherever you are, that you're happy with your knitting here in summer. I don't know if you feel like it's harder to find the time to knit because you're just going outside more and like maybe doing more activities that you can't bring your knitting to, or if you don't really see a difference in your knitting time regardless of the season. Um, I definitely feel like it's a bit harder because like I am busier now, but yeah, I am excited for the summer. I've got a couple ideas of videos that I want to do, like I said, but like I said, it's also going to be busy with the living room and like the sample knits that I actually have to like knit on, as opposed to like making videos about knitting. So yeah, but I definitely will come back with another podcast episode before I send those samples away so you can see them in their glory. And yeah, it was nice sitting down and catching up with you guys. So in the meantime, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all later. Bye!